And hello, everybody. Welcome back to episode number 160 of the CheckX series, as a matter of fact. If you're new here, as I say every single day, the CheckX series is pretty much all about me, your host Ivan, discussing everything that Elon discusses or talks about or whatever you can think of on X or Twitter. So today we're going to discuss what he talked about yesterday on Friday, May 15th, 2026. He posted it just around 42 times yesterday, and we are pretty much just going to get right into the episode here, not to waste your guys' time too much. And yeah, just to get right into it, and actually not as we usually start off. Today we're going to start off with international diplomacy in the Beijing trip. China trip that Elon actually got, I guess, invited to or was included in. Starting off this segment, Elon shared his highlights from a trip to Beijing, including photos with Jensen Huang, the NVIDIA CEO, and Tim Cook, which is Apple CEO. Also, Elon emphasized the importance of true friends, and was seen interacting with various CEOs and international media. Cool to see. Also, Elon reposted details regarding a bilateral meeting with President Trump and President Xi, which is the president of China, which covered economic cooperation, market access, and efforts to stop the flow of fentanyl as well. Last but not least, the discussions also touched on keeping the Strait of Hormuz open and ensuring Iran does not acquire a nuclear weapon. But already, to wrap up that episode, moving on to artificial intelligence and XAI updates. Starting off this segment, Elon announced the early beta of Grok Build, an agentic command line interface designed for coding, building apps, and automating workflows. Also, Elon actively sought feedback on Grok Build specifically, acknowledging it has its issues, but it's improving almost every day, so it'll be cool to see that in full scale one day. But also, Elon commented on the massive energy requirements for future computing, noting that compute needs may increase by 1,000 times, and that sustainable energy investment is currently driven by strong market forces. Last but not least, Elon criticized OpenAI actually over a class action privacy lawsuit, which we've talked about a while, for a very long while. That doesn't make any sense, but you get the point. Because it's been a very long ongoing, an extended ongoing lawsuit. So, alleging they secretly embedded tracking pixels into ChatGPT for ad targeting. This is why I don't use it anymore. Well, actually, I didn't know about that, but I just don't use ChatGPT because it sucks anyway. I just use Grok because it's somewhat better. I don't necessarily use Grok because it's fully perfect. Because obviously it's a younger AI than most of them, but it's expanding faster than the other ones. So I use it. But moving on to SpaceX and Starlink. Starting off this segment, during his trip to Beijing, I'm assuming, Elon joked about owning the satellite network, stating, "I am the Wi-Fi." And also, Elon addressed the failed partnership with Delta Airlines, which you talked about it because, what Delta basically did was they actually partnered with Amazon and their whole satellite Wi-Fi program, even though they only have 100 satellites in the sky, while Starlink or in space, while Starlink has 10,000. We've gone down this rabbit hole, I think, last episode or the episode before, if you want to go check that out, by the way, random plug. But yeah, Elon addressed the failed partnership with Delta Airlines, claiming it collapsed because SpaceX refused to include an annoying portal for access. Last but not least, Elon also predicted Delta would lose passengers for choosing Amazon's LEO technology over Starlink. Which again, yeah, I don't know why they did that, but who knows. But moving on, because again, I think almost 50 airlines, over 50 plus airlines, are already either planning to or using actively Starlink as we speak and as I'm making this video. So I don't know why Delta didn't follow along, but you know what? Moving on. Moving on to X, or formerly Twitter, whatever you want to call it, platform updates. We're going to get through this here, not too much. Elon announced that X has open sourced its latest recommendation algorithm on GitHub to maintain its status as the most transparent social platform. Also, last but not least, Elon invited critique of the algorithm and committed to monthly updates with release notes. Moving on to the last segment of this episode, talking about political commentary and legislation. Starting off this segment, Elon reacted to a bill introduced by Bernie Sanders and AOC, aimed at pausing AI data center construction, expressing concern over its impact on job creation. I agree, it's kind of been a problem recently, but moving on, not to go down that, because that's a very long rabbit hole to go down, a deep one. Elon reposted criticism of Kamala Harris's No Bad Idea brainstorm, which included topics like abolishing the Electoral College and expanding the Supreme Court. Moving on, Elon also shared content regarding Spanish migration amnesty, calling the situation a demographic invasion by decree. And last but not least for this episode, Elon responded to claims by Nigel Farage, calling him a liar after Farage alleged Elon tried to pay him to push certain policies. This happens a lot. But, ladies and gentlemen, this pretty much wraps up episode number 160 of the CheckX series. If you made it all the way to the end, I appreciate you for watching. I recommend dropping a like, commenting, and subscribing if you haven't already. I'm your host, Ivan, and this is episode number 160. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. I'll see you guys later.